right after the NHS comes out a couple of weeks ago, telling people the benefits of marrying your cousin. No, I'm not making this up. Like, this is a real country, okay? This actually happened. Yes, like the public healthcare system comes out and says, well, actually, it's a good thing if you marry your cousin because you can get out of poverty. And they got criticized for that. And now another event happens where politicians decided to put a ban to the practice altogether. And I think like Keir Starmer sides with the NHS on this, and is basically saying, no, 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 no. Like, let the cousin fuckers alone, alright? Just let the cousin fuckers alone. I mean, a couple of health defects, they're going to go to the NHS. The taxpayer will keep paying money for other people fucking incorrectly. Isn't it such a nice grift, though, like creating customers for the NHS? Like, you have the NHS coming out and making a declaration, look, we want more retards. Like, they're very profitable for us. They cost a lot of money to treat, like doctors need a living too. And so the Prime Minister goes like, that's such a great idea. Let's have even more retards. Like, why not? God. Now let's talk a little bit about first cousin marriage, because I find it very interesting. Am I allowed to say that? I'm going to get clipped, because I said I find first cousin marriage very interesting. But it is interesting. A lot of nations don't ban it. Like, I was actually shocked when I looked at it. I think there's like 8 nations or so in Europe that actually ban first cousin marriage, and usually it's a slap on the wrist as well. The reason for it is that there's no need to ban it because people just don't do it. Like, it used to be a thing in a medieval society where people were worried about land, or they lived in a small rural village and there weren't that many people available. And so having like first cousin marriages was usually done in order to keep the land inside the family, right? Like it was done for economic reasons mostly. But it was also done in cases like, okay, there's only 100 people in the village, you do what you gotta do. However, we live in 2025 now. The demographics have changed. You can actually live without having acres of land. You don't have to plow the field anymore. And so people just don't do first cousin marriages. But in Britain, apparently, there is this thing called migrants. And you have this article on Foxy News that talks about nearly 46% of females from Pakistan community in Bradford, England, had a common ancestor, according to a 2024 study. A government study showed that the number was at 62%. So apparently, like, the number has died down. Apparently, the Pakistanis are integrating, and they seem to stop some of the ancestral practices. But yeah, so basically, like, what? Almost half of the women there are having common ancestry. Okay, I will tell you what happens, because a lot of people don't understand. Like, I actually, on this situation, I understand Keir Starmer perfectly. In his shoes, I would have done the same. But I'm an Eastern European cynic, okay? Like, you need to take that into account. Like, I'm not into moral faggotry or anything. I look at the data, I look at the reality, alright? Like, reality over ideology. If you're telling me that 1 out of 2 people in the nation, from the Pakistani community, have ancestral, there is no way to enforce this. Like, physically speaking, okay? Like, unless you want blood on the streets, which, okay, maybe, like, look, maybe some politicians do. I don't know, but, like, from Keir Starmer's point of view, like, that's his voting base, right? Like, those are his people. That's his seat of power. That's his legitimacy. And so, if he actually goes in there, like, first of all, like you gotta understand the difference. When I say it's not enforceable, a lot of people would think about their own community or their own society. Like, if someone was to come to arrest me, like, the neighbors would respect the police. They would be like, well, he must have done something, right? Like, surely, and if he hasn't done something, like, he's going to get a lawyer and he's going to get free. Alright, now imagine you live in a different community, and if they come to arrest one, 1,000 people are on the streets, right? And you know how the British police are. Like, they don't even have guns. Like, they need to order, like, someone to come in with the gun. There is no way to enforce this unless you sell, like, the military or the riot squads. And do what exactly, right? Because, like, you already have marriages that have taken place, right? And even if you were to ban the practice, then they just don't use the government. They marry in their mosques and stuff. And so the reason for the ban, it's not because, like, liberalism, as some people say. It's like, oh, we're allowing people to do whatever they want. Like, Keir Starmer doesn't allow you to do shit, okay? Like, nothing moves in Britain without his permission. No, like he just doesn't know how he's going to enforce this, right? He's scared. Like, he doesn't have a plan for this. And honestly, like, I don't know what the plan would be. Unless you start deporting people. But that's not his campaign, right? Like, that's his political opponent's campaign. And so if he was to accept this, then his political opponent gets what he wants. And I think, like, this is the explanation. It's not that he likes cousin fucking, like some people are saying. No, it's just, like, the impracticability of enforcing. It's kind of like El Salvador, where, you know, like, at first you have some crime and it's manageable, like, you can crack down on it. Then you have more crime and it gets difficult to crack down on it. And at some point, you have so much crime that the only way to fix it is to send the military and start arresting people by the tens of thousands and locking them in cages, right? Like, this is how El Salvador solved that issue. And, I mean, this is the only way you could solve this. Like, if you're telling me that almost 46% of people in the community have a common ancestor, you don't have enough prisons, basically, right? Like, because, like, some of them are British citizens. Like, legally you can't deport them. Like, the judges won't allow it, you know? And so, like, you genuinely, like, do not have enough prisons. Because, like, take into account 46% of women, right? That also means the other half are men. So, like, both of them would have to go to prison. Unless, like, another way would be, I guess, to just allow the ones that took place and start banning them from now on. But in that case, you still have to go into their communities, right? Like, there's also a part of human nature where, like, this is also tied to the birth rates. And a lot of people, you know, like, they still blame porn or whatever other reasons for, like, why there's low birth rates. When the explanation is much more simple. A child that grows into a household where he's only one child and marries another woman that also grew into a household where she's the single child, it's extremely likely that they're only going to have one kid. Or none, right? People do the things that they grew up with. So, like, someone that grew up in a household with 6 kids, right? Sorry, 5 brothers, right? They're going to have a lot of kids because that's how they grew up. And so, if, like, you have people growing up seeing that cousin marriage is fine, right? Like, their mom and dad were cousins and they married, they're going to think that it's okay as well, right? So, like, it's going to take a lot of time. Apparently, like, 10 years it took to drop the number from, like, 60 to 46. And so, like, maybe in 10 more years, we can drop it down to 36%. Jesus. But yeah, and what is, like, 20%, then you can ban it, you know? Like, then Keir Starmer can ban it. But no, like, the reason he can't ban it is because, like, he loses the votes. You know, he's already not popular. And, like, as I mentioned before, like, that's where his legitimacy lies, right? Like, in those communities. And it's also the fact that Britain as a whole is having, like, the battered wife syndrome, right? Like, they know that certain populations, when they get upset, they get a little bit violent, you know? Like, the football hooligans. Ah, perfect. You know, I need to, like, be careful of what I'm saying. But you guys know what I mean, yeah? So, like, it's kind of like the football hooligans. Like, you don't antagonize them, right? And if you do antagonize them, then they go out and they crack down on the streets and shit. Now, again, like, if your party requires their votes, if you antagonize them and then you crack down on them, you know, you send the cops and shit, okay, well, you may not get their votes. And so they're trying to avoid this. And this is why, like, Britain has the battered wife syndrome. Like, in my opinion, like, Britain is an extremely feminine nation. Like one of the most feminine nations in Europe, actually. And the way it does things is that if you have, like, protests that aren't violent, okay, they crack down on those. Because it's like, well, what are they going to do about it? But if you have, like, a group of people that in the past have been violent, well, the British government is excellent at pattern recognitions. And then they crack down. And so, Yeah, I'm not surprised that this bill hasn't passed. It's the same thing, like you're not going to get rid of halal meat, you're not going to get rid of circumcisions. But the thing is, like, if you genuinely, like, had the party that's, like, Reform.uk, and it runs on a platform of, like, okay, we want to get rid of anyone that doesn't assimilate into English culture. And they would be like, okay, so what is English culture? Do we have first cousin marriage? No. Do we have circumcisions? No. Do we have halal meat? No, that's animal cruelty. Circumcision is genital mutilation. We don't have all of these. And then they pass these laws, and then people are going to riot. And when they riot, you call the cops, you crack down on them. People that do that lose their right to stay in Britain if they're not citizens. People that are citizens go into actual prisons. And all of a sudden, you see, like, people starting to leave the country willingly because, like, they don't want to live like that. You know, like, for instance, in Romania, if the government was to cut down my internet, I would leave the country because, like, I don't want to live like this, right? So, like, there are certain things that people just refuse to put up with. And then they leave by themselves. And so, yeah, Keir Starmer is also aware of this. And this is why they don't want to do it. But that would be, like, a way that you can have, like, very cheap and easy and humane natural selection, I guess. You know, like the people that would stay after the bans, well, they stay because they genuinely want to integrate with Britain. It's like, okay, perfectly. People that don't stay, well, people that probably wouldn't have wanted to integrate anyway. Right, so cousin fucking remains in the UK. I'm actually curious, like, if you have a cousin and you go to the UK and you marry there, like, is it recognized if you come into France? Like, how does it work? Because, like, I know in Romania, like, for instance, if you have a Saudi Arabian prince with his 5 wives and he comes over here, like, his marriage is kind of recognized. Like, if the prince dies, like, his wives can go to the hospital, you know, like, the children are considered his, and so on and so forth. So, like, I'm also curious, right? Like, if you're French and you go to Britain, oh, you can also, like, cousin fuck over there and not get in trouble, right? The opportunity that Keir Starmer presents us with. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the comment section. Take care.